Hey, good morning. It's Chris Magnus on the Street View Vagabond, and today I'm doing an Unboxing the World Black History Month edition. Excuse me. So each Friday in the month of February here, 2022, I'm doing an Unboxing the World video specific to Black history. And my process is I start with a radio station around the world, listen to that station for a while, put together a playlist of about 20 songs that are being played on that radio station. And then I dig in and try to find what that community is like. And usually do no research, just jump right in and unbox that town, that city, to learn a little bit more about what life's like in that place. What I've learned now, this is my third week doing Black History Month edition. First week I did Clarksdale, Mississippi because of the blues trail, like that blues music, dug deep into the Blues Museum there in Clarksdale and explored Clarksdale, Mississippi. The next week after that, I was like, I'm going to go to Augusta, Georgia, because of the home of James Brown, also home of Sharon Jones, and explored Augusta, Georgia. And when I was doing that, I realized that I need to do a little bit more research because I'm coming to, there's a more of a specific reason for these unboxings, and because there's Woodrow Wilson's house in Augusta, Georgia, who is was the president of the United States and also a blatant racist. And I was like, I can't be focusing in on the wrong places as I'm doing a Black history um, focus. So I need to do a little bit more research when I'm unboxing a town for specific reasons. So it's a learning for me. This is a process. So for today, for this unboxing video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the process and some of the research I did. It's still going to be unboxing. I'm still going to have a section that I'm going to dig into Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that I haven't explored yet. So that'll be kind of fresh and part of the unboxing tradition that I've been doing here. So anyway, so let's start. So I've got a playlist here, and it says here that it's listed as Jazz Plaza in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. And as you can see, there's 20 songs here. And it's broken out basically by 4 different artists. And you can see the first 5 songs are by King Oliver. The second 5 songs are Willie Foster. And the next 5 songs are George Pops Foster. And then finally, Emmanuel Sales is the last 5 songs there. And these 4 artists are listed on the Bicentennial Jazz Plaza sign in Donaldson, Louisiana. So this is not associated with a specific radio station today. I'm looking at more like a musical tradition. So I was thinking, okay, what are some of the hotbeds of locations of kind of influential African American musical centers in our country? And so that's why again I started with Clarksdale, Mississippi, then Augusta, Georgia, and now I was like, okay, well let's think about what's Louisiana have to offer. What's going on in Louisiana in terms of the music scene? Not a surprise. We got jazz is the birthplace of jazz in Louisiana, but I didn't realize it was Donaldsonville has such a rich jazz history as well. So how did I find process here for Louisiana? I didn't necessarily know off the top of my head that Donaldsonville was the place to look. It's like, okay, we'll learn something new here too. But what I did want to do is I want to dig into uh, uh, in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, knowing that there was a bus boycott in Baton Rouge that was before the Montgomery bus boycott. So I knew that in the back of my head. So I knew Baton Rouge is probably a place to kind of be checking out. And also, where's the hotbed of kind of music, birthplace of music, jazz, and for African American history. What I did is I'm going to check out Donaldsonville, Louisiana, which is located, outside of New Orleans. New Orleans is up here, Donaldson's over here, and Baton Rouge is up here. And so, digging in and finding out what's going on in terms of jazz music, I was tipped off on this great site here on the Red Stick site called, oh, this is the Baton Rouge African American. Oh, I'll start with that too. So speaking of the bus boycott in Baton Rouge, there is this location here in Baton Rouge. That is the Odell Williams Now and Then African American Museum. And each year they've been doing a Juneteenth celebration in June to celebrate that the official announcement or understanding of enslaved African Americans in Texas that were told 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation that they were indeed free. So it was June 19th and celebrating Juneteenth. So that's the tradition of that holiday. So they've been celebrating this in this museum here. But right there is a bus that is from the 1950s. And in 1953, there was a successful bus boycott in Baton Rouge, which actually was the kind of the blueprint for the Montgomery bus boycott that came later, that Rosa Parks, Sparks, and Dr. King with the SNCC movement in Montgomery, Alabama started too. But so lesser known bus boycott happening in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in 1953. There is that bus, which is now a community museum, as it says here, which is by Odell Williams. She's been leading this community museum for, like I said, 13 years. So this is a great little site to check out if you're ever in Baton Rouge. Check out that. But in that site, which is here, it's called the Red Stick, I learned about where the history of jazz was, and this River Road African American Museum here in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. So let's check it out. So you see here, here's the river. Sorry, the African American Museum, History Museum here. It's called River Road, and right here, if I can get to it, this is the Jazz Bicentennial Plaza. Okay, so this sign that you can barely read right here, you can't read actually right there, is the sign that is pull that up right here. Okay, and so this is in Donaldsonville, and as you can see here, if you want to read this, basically talks about that that jazz was actually born from a combination of different traditions like work songs, spirituals, blues, ragtime, and that Donaldsonville actually played a role in that here. Yeah, so Donaldsonville was a hotbed of musical activity. Many of the early musicians developed an interest and talent while living on or near the plantations in the rural communities of Ascension Parish. So this monument serves as a site of enduring significance, documents, preserves, and celebrates the rural musicians. I didn't think I was going to read all of that, so I guess apparently I'm doing that too. But here at the bottom is talking about some of those musicians. So that's where I got the names of the musicians that are on the playlist, in the Spotify playlist for today. Not all of them I could actually find music on Spotify, so that's why there's not everybody who's on here too, but it's a good combo of jazz and blues, and from a long time ago. I can say that too. Okay, so now Donaldsonville is offering more than just the River Road African American History Museum. One thing I want to also highlight is on the grounds of the museum, or part of the grounds of the museum, is the, and I do have, I have picked up some screenshots already because I was doing the research to make this work. Is this right here? Oh, that's not it. This is it. This is what I want. Sorry. Okay. All right. So this is on the grounds of that. I can't necessarily see it. It looks like it might be, maybe this is an older picture of this here. But one of these things, one of the features here that was in the area that's been moved to this site is what are known as the Rosenwald Schools. So the Rosenwald Schools was an effort, a team effort by Booker T. Washington, who actually reached out to Julius Rosenwald, who was president of Sears Roebuck's company, and said, hey, we need to make sure that we're building the kind of like educational bandwidth, the educational wherewithal for African Americans to become educated and be able to go and have great lives and be skilled moving forward. And as you can see here, this plaque here is talking about the Rosenwald Schools, and that this particular school here in Donaldsonville was one of the last remaining Rosenwald schools in our country, and so it's been moved to the River Road African American Museum there in Donaldsonville as a historical artifact for the Rosenwald schools. You can see there too. And these schools were designed by students of Tuskegee, which is also the connection. Booker T. Washington is actually leading those efforts, and it says here that the National Trust for Historic Preservation named the Rosenwald Schools its list of America's most endangered historic places in 2002. So many of those buildings have been abandoned or remodeled beyond recognition. So this building is one of the only 4-room wooden schools remaining in the United States. So this is a significant opportunity, as it says here, the commitment to self-help as a firm belief that education can improve the lives of Black Americans in the rural South. So this is Booker T. Washington pushing forward the efforts to make sure that rural African Americans are being well educated in order to have prosperous lives. And so that school, which is one of the few remaining Rosenwald schools in the country, is on the grounds here in Donaldsonville. But again, that is not the only thing that Donaldsonville has to offer. It's got the River Road African American History Museum. And then down the road a little bit over here, which I found because I was checking out the museum, is this building here. Now, this is one of those things that on Street View, if I hadn't done the research, I probably wouldn't have seen it or known it, been able to find it. But this plaque on here talks about the True Friends Hall. This True Friends Hall here was a, you can see here, that's not the one I want to get. But anyway, this community members attend Easter event at the True Friends Hall in April 1955. And so that's not the plaque. Yikes. The True Friends Hall. It's this one here. It says down here in the bottom corner was a benevolent society once held a fraternal group that was burial insurance for Louisiana, and they held carnivals and balls and dances and plays and entertainment. And Pat's Domino got his start coming through there. And many of the musicians that would come through, go to New Orleans, would definitely stop in Donaldsonville to perform and to be, have a good time in the community there too. So a lot of musicians, and we were talking about earlier, a lot of the jazz musicians that were on the Bicentennial plaque probably also performed at True Friends Hall too. Here you can also see here's the plaque of the Rosenwald School talking about those schools and how it's connected to that community as well. I also want to bring your attention that this here says Shotgun Houses, which is a very simple straight home that is called Shotgun House because you can open up the front door and literally walk all the way to the back and nothing will stop you. You can shoot a shotgun through it and not hit anything. So those are homes that are very common, and also in this area right here, you can see what they look like. And it's kind of goes back in time a little bit. These are homes that were fairly inexpensive and would have been the types of homes that sharecroppers would have had as they're trying to, not sharecroppers because that would be actually on that. These are really kind of like simple homes in order to kind of provide a home for your family if you didn't have much money there. I need to do more research on that. Thanks. Okay. So there you go, shotgun homes. All right, so Donaldsonville, we've got the hall here where Fats Domino got to start. We also talked about the Rosenwald Schools that are over there. And I also want to bring your attention to here is a There we go. So, this is the Fort Butler historic site. And get really what I'd seen before. There we go. Here we go. All right. So Fort Butler historic site. This is a fort that was created by Union soldiers during the Civil War. Louisiana was under control of the Union forces, and this commemorative plaque I'm citing over here brings awareness and honor to African American soldiers that had also played a role in fighting for that one attack that actually happened in 1863, and yes, okay. This is part of that monument there, talking about how African American soldiers played a role in the fight during the Civil War, but also this plaque also over here. I thought I had another one that said it. Talked about the fact that they are actually, here we go. This fortification is a symbol of the African American contribution to their own freedom. Not only did Black bands construct this citadel, African American soldiers helped in its defense. So there's Donald Fraser, assistant professor at University of Abilene, Texas. So this fort here was under attack in 1863, was successfully thwarted the Confederates, and as it says there, this was part of African American history in terms of African Americans actually helping to build that fort, and also fight for it as well. So that's probably the earliest point to point out here from a Black history standpoint for this part of Louisiana. And those are my points here for Donaldsonville, Louisiana as well. This is just they have the plaques around that talk about what's going on here. So there's a night assault on that floor. Okay, so so we've talked about Donaldsonville, we talked about the bus boycott in 1953 in Baton Rouge, and then yeah, Donaldsonville, and then another thing I wanted to bring to attention here was that in Baton Rouge, the state capitol, right next to the state capitol is a park. Come over here on the street, and this is A.Z. Young Park. And so, who's A.Z. Young? What is changed, and this was taken in March of 2019, there's going to be a marker that's going to be here in A.Z. Young Park, and that marker is going to look like, let me get out of the way, it's going to look like this. And the reason for that is because there was in 1967, there's it says Bogalusa to Baton Rouge March marker. So A.Z. Young was one of the Louisiana civil rights leaders who held, yes, so in March, the Bogalusa to Baton Rouge March, led by A.Z. Young with Robert Bob Hicks and Jeff Jenkins, a 105-mile gauntlet. And it's pretty amazing. It is 105 miles from Bogalusa to Baton Rouge. Again, this is 1967, so this is way, from 1953 is the bus boycott to 1967, 14 years of fighting for civil rights in Louisiana. And this march in particular, it was, was going to the Capitol grounds in order to take the list of grievances to the governor, John McKeithen. And it says here regarding employment discrimination, an election of 10 African Americans running for local offices in Bogalusa, which is a really, really small town. And it says here the protesters' efforts were successful, leading to better hiring and voting practices. The one thing I want to just share too is that it started as 25 people walking from Bogalusa to Baton Rouge, and they needed over 2,000 National Guard troops to actually protect them along that way. And that's pretty significant in terms of the amount of opposition that they were having, just marching for, you know, just marching for a better life. So as you can see, here's a photograph here of that march. You can see the National Guards folk basically surrounding the marchers here. Again, it was a 105-mile march. And so Bogalusa is this little town. Again, it's 105 miles from Baton Rouge. So they marched, from this little town all the way to Baton Rouge, again, trying to get more African Americans elected, voting rights standpoint. And the reason why I have this marker here is because this street, this address of this house, which I'm going to show right here, is also going to be getting one of those markers that I just showed you, the marker, this marker that's now at the Capitol grounds in Baton Rouge. This marker for this house here, which, as it says here, so this was the house of Bob Hicks, okay? And the name of the street now is Bob Hicks Street. And it was basically the base of operations for this march. So a regular meeting place for officers of the Bogalusa Civic and Voters League chapter, Congress of Racial Equality, the Corps. And this is a great description here. It talks about the house was a safe place for civil rights workers. The breakfast room became the communication center for the folks. Armed defense group protected civil rights workers from violence. The living room was an unofficial office for the civil rights attorneys who pioneered groundbreaking lawsuits in education, housing, development, employment. And so in August of 1967, the march was led by activist A.Z. Young with Robert Bob Hicks and Gail Jenkins, who we said before, and all the way to Baton Rouge. So there's going to be one of those life-size markers that looks like this in front of this home, which is Bob Hicks's home on Bob Hicks Street, to commemorate all of that activity that was happening in that home there and in the lead up to the March of 1967 and probably post afterward too. So another really cool spot. All right, so I'm going to get to the unboxing here. And the unboxing here is of Southern University. And the reason for that is because in this website about the Red Stick, talks about that Southern University is the largest historically Black college in the world. And early in 1960, the Southern students sparked a revolution in Southern Louisiana, organizing sit-ins at local spots and protesting segregated spaces. So I'm not going to read all of that there, but a very active student body at Southern University during the Civil Rights Movement, and a very, again, largest historically Black college in the world. So let's check it out. And one thing I've done, I haven't actually gone to the university yet, but there's some significant names, here that I did a little bit of research on some of these websites here. So as we come to it, I might grab those websites to see what it is. So let's check out what Southern University looks like, and we'll be grabbing some screenshots and so forth. So we got Felton G. Clark Activity Center. So this looks like the like the stadium, and we got over there. I think I'm heading the right place. Yeah. Okay. And this looks like we got a stadium coming up here. Here we go. What do we got here? Oh, it just says Southern. Okay. Which makes sense. This is the stadium. And this is not any stadium. What's this say? The Jaguar 7. I can't read that mascot. Oh my gosh, is it actually in there? Maybe at one point there was an actual the actual Jaguar. Is it Jaguar? Home of the Fighting Jaguar, Southern live mascot, Lacumba. Huh. No idea that they would have a live mascot there. So this is a true unboxing. So I don't know Southern University. So I'm learning as we go here right now. But I will say, that this stadium here, a little research. Oops. Grab that. That's interesting. Lacumba is still on the grounds. Looks like it. There's a live mascot here. So, oh, okay, all right. Okay, so this stadium, as it says here, is the A.W. Mumford Stadium. And so A.W. Mumford, Ace Mumford, was a very, very successful football coach. And, you know, I haven't done extensive research, but just looking up in terms of Wikipedia, he has the third most wins among college football coaches. And that he led Texas College to one black college football national championship and Southern to 5 national championships, some black national championships. He's a very successful football coach, and he's being honored with the stadium here at Southern University. So cool. What else we got? We got subway up here. What is this? Is this a subway too? I don't know. Okay, so again, we're here at Southern U. Let's go back here. This looks like an official gate. Let me get a photo of that. Whoops, what happened? An official photo of this. Welcome to Southern University and College. Cool. All right, let me get that photo. All right. Just go quickly so I might not be spelling that right. What else we got here? All right, so let's go into university here. That's another view of the stadium. Jeez, I keep doing that. Come on. Okay. Band. Isaac Greg's band. Nice. That's right. Okay. I guess I should take a picture of Isaac Greg's. I didn't do research on Isaac Greg's. Should probably find out who Isaac Greg's is. Frank Hayden Hall. Here we go. This. Okay, so Frank Hayden. I did do research on him. So yeah, Frank Hayden is a world-renowned artist, and he traveled all over the world. Even amazing thing here, talked about like speaking English, French, Danish, Swedish, German, Russian. Born in Memphis, Tennessee, and just an amazing artist, amazing sculptor. And so he's being honored at Southern University with his own art building, his own art studio. But again, you know, I'm seeing these names on the signs on the buildings there in at Southern University, which means I should probably look up Isaac Griggs because I did not look him up beforehand. So I'm going to let that icon disappear, and then I'm going to take a shot of Isaac Griggs Band Hall, and learn a little bit more about who he is and his contribution there. Again, I'm doing my unboxing videos are usually completely no research. But recognizing I need to do a little research if I'm trying to be focused on African American history. This is cool. It's like a alpha chapter. The other photo back here is better. Okay, we got these letters here. Greek life. All right, let's take a photo back. I'll call this alpha tree or treat. This one here. I wonder if all the fraternities have a different tree. I saw the letters out there. Mars. It's alpha tree 2. Yes. I'm just going to grab this. All the different sorority. Let's grab that. That's the music building. Okay. I'm not super well versed in Greek life. So I can't do more research there. Oh, so yeah, check it out. Here is, what is this? Beta Alpha chapter. Zeta. Let's reload. 1920. We got some territories here. We got people staking a claim. They look like on the Zeta tree on the lawns here in Southern. Take a look at this because we're not using that. All right, so these are the cat AKAs. Elephant, right? It's 1908. Is that the first one? 1908. It's pretty early. I know if anybody's watching this knows better than me, probably screaming right now. What are you thinking? True. Okay. Is that another one? Oh, there's one way over there. Can't get it. Cool. So many other. Oh, what is this? Which tree is that? Okay. Over there. Someone has gotten rid of their chair. This one here. Who is this? This is the same. Beta Alpha chapter. Ah, I can't read it. I wonder if I can go around the corner. Can I get into there? Yeah. This is 2008, so this is going back pretty far. Oh, wait. That tree was super red there. So I'm not able to get. Who's this? James Hall. James Blaine. Cool. Did not look James Blaine more up. I did not know about James Blaine. Come on. If I wait a few seconds, this icon's going to disappear. Here we go. All right, James Blaine. I'll look him up. Let's see what's coming. I'm trying to get over there. Okay. You can see I'm checking out Southern University. Oh man, what is this over here? There we go. So this, I'm gonna grab this one. And then this also, I did do research on TT. Let's see here real quick. Those are just kind of quick notes. I saved it there so I can go back later. TT Allen Hall, or is it Elaine Hall? Not sure. Southern Jaguars. Look at that. That's really cool. Oh, here's another tree over here. All right, I'm gonna let that icon go down. I'm gonna talk about who TT Elaine is. Allen. All right. I feel kind of self-conscious because I don't know. I'm not coming from an expert position. I'm just learning. So I'm trying to be kind of completely transparent that I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm trying. All right, so, but I did look up TT Allen or Allen. It's the file Allen. Okay, so member of Louisiana State Legislature from the 1870s, 1880s, definitely part of Reconstruction. And his politics educated developed as an instrumental in updating the Mississippi River levees. And then he later moved to Chicago. I want to bring to your attention one thing that I did see down here is this is it. Boom, check it out. In 1886, he secured $14,000 the foundation of Southern University, along with Pinchback and Henry DeMoss, considered the founder of the university. Okay, so he gets honored at Southern University as one of the founders, and the legislature earmarking money for that. And also Pinchback was the first African-American governor of any state in the United States, and governor of Louisiana, also part of Reconstruction. And he also has a building named after him here at Southern University as well. All right. I saw something over here that I thought was kind of cool. Let's see if I can get it. It was looked like a jaguar statue. It looked like it was more like Greek life stuff. Look in here. That's just blue. Some colors. Okay, I think I'll take this left. This can I go through? Yes. I think it's in here. Yes. So, well, let's check it out. What does it say? Nelson Mandela College of Government Sciences, Rodney Higgins Hall. Oh, I'll take that. I don't know who Rodney Higgins is. Obviously, know who Nelson Mandela is. And I'll get that squared away a little bit later. Two places. Are they like a Greek life? It's like ROTC. Like a soldier. Ooh, who's this? Yeah, I thought it was over here. I can find it. I think it's right in there. I see. Yeah, it's hard to see. Can't get that. It does look like Greek life. It's hard to see. Maybe it's down here. I thought I saw a statue of a jaguar. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna. I'm coming to an end of my time here in terms of how much time we can spend on this. Did I get everybody? I did not get. Oh, the red stick. Yeah, that's cool. So it's a Pinchback has a. Let's see. There is a Pinchback building right here. Okay, as I said before, he was the first African-American governor in the United States. And then I also saw that there's the Red Stick Memorial, which is interesting. The reason why Baton Rouge is called Red Stick is because of there was a stick that was a dividing line placed between two Native American nations in this area. And since the Huma tribe and the Bayugula nations, and the Red Stick did have some blood running down it from what was on it, buffalo hunting grounds, and it was it was basically showing like, this is the dividing line between us, and it was on what's called Scotts Bluff, which is now Southern University's campus. So this is the sculpture that I can't seem to find on Street View at this moment here. But as I was doing my research, I thought that was interesting, just in terms of learning about why Baton Rouge is called Baton Rouge. It's on the campus of Southern University, and it was saw the bloodied cypress pole on the animal parts and stained from their latest haul. So not specific to what animal was staining that, but that's where Baton Rouge gets its name, and it's there on the campus of Southern University. Again, PBS Pinchback, he does have one of the first African-American governors of Louisiana, and he has a building there on the campus of Southern University. Maybe I should end there and call it a day and try to keep this. There we go, PBS Pinchback. Let's go right there. Boom. And I don't think I'm gonna get the sign. I don't know. We'll see. If I can get the sign, we'll call that a day. And this is very dead right now. If it's 8 a.m. on a Saturday, I'm sure most students are asleep and not. There's the Pinchback building, named after. There we go. There we got some students. I don't think they're on a tour. University tour. There you go. Cool. Oh, this might be the sign I'm looking for. There we go. No, J.W. Fisher Hall. Okay. Way. Okay. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get a good shot of the. Okay, whatever. I think that's Pinchback right there. Oh, there it is. There we go. Let's do that. Let's get that photo. PBS Pinchback Engineering Building. Yes. Okay. We will end on that one. PBS Pinchback. Very quick with my spelling. So that was my unboxing of for Black History Month. This is Friday, February 18th, and we are looking at Southern University in Louisiana, as well as looked at Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Also the march from march from Bogalusa, Louisiana to Baton Rouge, civil rights led by A.Z. Young, and among others too. So again, this is my process. I'm trying to unbox and learn about the world by experiencing them. This one I'm doing a little bit more research before digging in. So I have a little bit more grounding of what's happening there too. But again, just exploring it, and I learned a lot of new stuff. I didn't know much about Southern University. I'm going to do a little bit more research on that before posting stuff. And so this has been great. So thanks for joining, and have a good one.